we will upload it in our podcast. Okay, it will be uploaded today.
So today's topic of discussion is the nuclear power plant. So as we can understand, the large amount of coal and petroleum is being used to produce the energy nowadays. But at the time may come when the reserve may not be able to meet the energy requirements. After each decade, the world demand for the electricity is doubled due to the booming increase in the populations. Thus, we have to always seek for the alternative sources of energy, right? So, nuclear power plant is one of the good options to work with. Uh, Let me start my PowerPoint presentation on that. So nuclear power plant is nowadays very comparable for the power generation because the unit cost per kilowatt hour is comparatively less than the thermal power plant. Uh, See, it has been found that it is innumerous source of energy for us as we talk about the nuclear power plant. So, uh, so this was the introduction about that. Our population as well as the industrial sector increases. It means that the demand of electrical power increases day by day. To fulfill this demand, water and coal is of limited addition. So we require searching newly source of energy for production and fulfillment of the electrical demand, as we have discussed this thing earlier, because we have limited source of energy in form of the say coal and water. So we must uh, nowadays we must have focused on the alternative sources of energy for the power generation. So to overcome the above mentioned problem, nuclear energy is a best solution to produce huge amount of electrical energy. With the fission process of uranium, thorium, and plutonium, we have to produce this energy. This is very similar to the power plant. We can say the thermal power plant, coal is used to produce the heat energy. On the other hand, the nuclear heat energy is produced with the fission process of uranium, thorium, and plutonium, right? So, what is the basic principle of generation of the electricity, or you can say energy from the nuclear power plant? See, every power plant has its own basic principle. So, what is the basic principle of nuclear power plant? That is the chemical energy. Chemical energy is converted to the heat energy. Heat energy is uh, produced to the kinetic energy, then mechanical energy, and mechanical energy to the electrical energy. So the basic process is that the freely moving neutrons bombarded with the radioactive material, that is uranium 235 or thorium 232, the heat energy produced with the help of this heat energy and water and steam is produced at the high pressure and high temperature. High pressure steam passes towards turbine where kinetic energy of the steam is converted into the mechanical energy. That means the rotation of the shaft. We know that the turbine and generator are mechanically coupled through this combination of electrical energy is produced in the nuclear power plant. So basic difference is with the thermal power plant and the nuclear power plant is very understandable that in the case of the thermal power plant, we are producing the heat energy with the help of burning of coal, and that energy is converted into the say that energy is utilized in conversion of water to the steam at high pressure and temperature, and with the help of the high pressure, high temperature steam, we used to run the steam turbine. But in the case of the nuclear power energy, or you can say nuclear power plants, energy that is produced by the say fission, that is utilized to convert the water into the steam at high pressure and high temperature, and eventually that is going to the turbine, and that we are getting the mechanical energy out of that. Now, here some list of nuclear power plants in India. That is on Karnataka, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, and Maharashtra, right? Basically, you can see that its operator is Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, NPCIL, right? And its installed capacity is also mentioned over here. You can just have a look at this slide. Now, what is very important, that means before establishing any nuclear power plant, what criteria that you have to consider for the site of the nuclear power plant? That means where we should establish, or what are the favorable conditions that we have to consider for the establishment of the nuclear power plant. That is following factors. Let's understand which factors are to be considered for the site selection of the nuclear power plant. First and primemost criteria, that is the availability of the water. We can say that again, as in case of this thermal power plant, we required a large quantity of water, but compared to that, we require less quantity of water for the over here. And that water should be available in ample quantity to be converted into the steam at the high pressure and high temperature. Again, that is important. That is the disposal of waste. That means what is a crucial thing about the nuclear power plant, that is the nuclear waste, right? So your nuclear waste is also radioactive, so disposal of waste is also very important. So you must have some provisions for the disposal of waste without threat to the environment. Say distance from the populated area. See, we know that the nuclear power plant, the radioactive material is utilized for the generation of power. So it is evident that it should be located at very far distance from the populated area to avoid the harmful effects of this nuclear radiation which is coming out from this. That is next is the transportation facilities. Again, say establishment and establishment for the nuclear power plant, or you can say installation, and for maintenance, you must have the transportation facilities over there for the say transportation of the say machinery as well as the human power for the installation as well as the maintenance. Skilled person requirement. You cannot say recruit any layman to operate this nuclear power plant, because the safety requirement in the case of the nuclear power plant is the highest. So you require skilled person for the operation and maintenance of this nuclear power plant as well as for the establishments also. Near to the load center. See, this is again controversial. That is distance from the populated area and near to the load center. But it should be located. It should be located near to the load center to avoid the transmission and dispersing losses. Next is the storage of nuclear material. That is also one important criteria, that you must have some very excellent facilities of this storage of nuclear material which is radioactive in nature, so that these harmful radiations of the nuclear material should not spoil your environment, and it should not affect the people around. That is geographical conditions also. They are also very important. It should not be located in a place where these earthquakes, which is subjected to say earthquakes, high floods, etc. Because say once the damage taking to the nuclear power plant, it is very evident that the nuclear waste, or you can say the harmful radiation, will spoil the atmosphere, and it may also harm the people around that. So these are the certain criteria for that. Now let's have a brief review of the atomic physics. That means let's understand the process of the nuclear fission and fusion. See, there are some basic definitions. That is, first of all, the atom. The smallest particle of the nucleus is known as atom. I think you people are familiar with this. That this nucleus is present in every atom of the central part. This nucleus consists of the number of protons, neutrons, and out of that, the protons are positively charged and neutrons are negatively charged, but electrically neutral. This nucleus carries the positively charged protons and electrons revolving in an elliptical orbit. If the number of protons is equal to the number of neutrons, then the atoms are stable. Next is the mass number and atomic number. Mass number is defined as the sum of atomic number and number of neutrons in the nucleus. Say atomic number is also defined as the number of protons present in the nucleus. Mass number that is denoted by A, that is atomic number Z plus number of neutrons in the nucleus. This nucleus carries positively charged protons and the electrons revolving in elliptical orbit. If the number of protons is equal to the number of neutrons, then atoms are stable. Okay. Uh, let's wait for 1 minute. પીપીટી આમાં કઈ રીતે લઈ આવવાનું? પેલા પીપીટી પેલા લોડ કરવી પડે. હવે મારે
એટલે તમારે પીપીટી ફૂલ સ્ક્રીન બતાવી છે કે નહીં?
ફૂલ સ્ક્રીન પણ રેકોર્ડિંગમાં આવી ગયું ને.
એ લોડ કરવાની જરૂર નથી.
એમનેમ આવશે પણ પેલી લાલ પટ્ટી નથી.
ઓપન કરી દો. હવે એમાં તમે પેલા ટીમમાં તમારે આ રીતે બતાવી છે કે ફૂલ સ્ક્રીન કેમ બતાવી છે?
ફૂલ સ્ક્રીન
અલ્ટર ટેપ બીજી અલ્ટર ટેપ ટેપ બે વખત ટીમમાં આવી જાઓ. ટીમમાં આવે ત્યાં
ઓકે.
હવે એમાં પેલું પેલું છે ને યાર ડાઉનલોડ એના પેલા ક્લિક કરી દે એકવાર લખી જશે ફરીથી કરો. હવે પૂરી કરી બતાવશે.
હા.
હા જી
ઓકે.
એવું ને?
હમ. Okay, so we were discussing about the nuclear power plant and the basic atomic things. So this thing we have already discussed, that is about the introduction of the, say, nuclear power plant, basic principle, how the energy is converted, that is the chemical energy is converted into the electrical energy. This thing we have already discussed. This is the review of this nuclear power plant in India. Site selection criteria we have already discussed. Let's recall it: availability of the water, disposal of waste, distance from the populated area, transportation facilities, skilled person requirement, near to the load center, and storage of the nuclear material as well as the geographical conditions. These are the some criteria that are required to be considered for the selection of the site for the establishment of nuclear power plant. We are discussing the atomic physics. Again, atom, that is the smallest particle of the nucleus, which say nucleus which contains of the say proton, neutrons, and let's discuss its say mass number and atomic number. The mass number is defined as the sum of the atomic number and number of the neutrons in the nucleus. Atomic number is defined as the number of protons present in the nucleus. Mass number is the summation of the atomic number plus number of neutrons in the nucleus. This nucleus carries positively charged protons and the uh, electrons revolving in the elliptical orbit. If the number of protons is equal to the number of neutrons, then atoms are stable. See, let's understand the isotopes. Isotopes are defined as ગુજરાતીમાં આપણે એના સમસ્થાનિકો કહીએ છીએ. See, isotopes are defined as the atoms consist of the same number of protons but different number of the neutrons in the nucleus is known as the isotopes, right? Now, radioactive isotopes. If the number of protons are not equal to the number of neutrons in the nucleus, then atoms are unstable. This is known as the radioactive isotopes. For the radioactive materials like uranium and thorium, they don't have the same number of protons and neutrons because this material too many or too few neutrons in their nucleus. Mass and energy equivalence. See, mass energy equivalence state that the mass is concentrated energy, right? In this theory, the special relativity Einstein formula E is equal to mc square that is applicable, right? So this is one example. A 20 kg marble consists energy as the 500 kiloton of hydrogen bomb. But this energy is very difficult to release. It can be released through the matter, antimatter, annihilation when the matter and antimatter come together. Say nuclear reactions can be understood to the release so much of energy than chemical reactions because the mass changes. Next is the binding energy. Nuclei are made up of the protons and neutron, but the mass of the nucleus is always less than the sum of the individual masses of the protons and the neutrons which constitute it. The difference is a measure of the nuclear binding energy which holds the nucleus together. So in this binding energy that can be calculated from the Einstein relationship, nuclear binding energy is equal to delta mc square. Now the mass defect. In the chain reaction, we have studied that when a slow moves neutron hits a heavy nucleus, this heavy nucleus splits into the two nearly equal parts. With the help of this, releases a huge amount of heat energy due to the mass defect. Every heavy atom's mass are not equal. When a neutron hits them, it produces large amount of heat energy release. This is known as the mass defect. So these are the two explanation of the mass defect. Now let's understand the nuclear chain reaction. Nuclear chain reaction is possible only with the heavy nucleus such as uranium, thorium and plutonium because these heavy nucleus are more unstable. The nuclear chain reaction state that if a slow moving neutron hits with the heavy or unstable nucleus, then the neutrons are absorbed and this nucleus splits into two equal or similar parts. Due to this process, a lot kinetic energy released in the form of a heat. This process is continued. It is known as the nuclear chain reaction. You can see the figure shown aside. That is very easily you can understand with the help of this figure how the neutrons are absorbed and the chain reaction is taking place. Now nuclear fission, say another process is fission, right? It's a process by which the nucleus of an atom is split into the two or more smaller nuclei known as the fission. Products like uranium, thorium, etc. Say nuclear fission is the takes place for the heavier atoms. Now another is that is nuclear fission. It is the process of releasing the huge amount of heat energy that is known as the nuclear fission, right? So in the case of the nuclear fusion, a very molecularly less atomic number molecules are fusing together, and that produces a large amount of energy. You can see this. Say deuterium and tritium, they are fusing together. They are producing the helium and a free neutron along with the energy. Next is the multiplication or the reproduction factor K. It is the ratio of number of neutrons generated in one generation to the number of neutrons in the preceding generation. In the case of the nuclear power plant, the term multiplication factor is denoted by the K. If K is greater than 1, the chain reaction is in supercritical stage. And if K is equal to 1, the chain reaction is in critical stage. If K is less than 1, then the chain reaction is in subcritical. Now, here a small comparison between nuclear fission and the nuclear fusion, right? So this comparison, it's very with the help of this comparison, it will be very easy for us to understand the nuclear fission and the nuclear fusion. So in the case of the nuclear fission, you can say that the uranium 235 combines with a neutron to form an unstable intermediate, which quickly splits into the barium 144 and krypton 89 plus 3 neutrons in the process of the nuclear fission. In the side, the deuterium and the tritium combine by the nuclear fusion to form helium plus a neutron. Now, comparison of the nuclear fission as with the nuclear fusion. If a heavy nuclear breaks up from the two or lighter nuclei, that is nuclear fission. Or in the case of the fusion, two light nuclei combine to form a heavy nucleus. It involves a chain reaction. See, chain reaction is not involved in the case of the nuclear fission. While the fission, you require chain reaction. The heavy nucleus is bombarded with neutrons in the case of the fission, while in fusion, light nuclei are heated to an extremely high temperature. Nuclear fission, we have proper mechanism to control fission reaction for the generating electricity. But in the case of the fusion, proper mechanism is to control the fusion reaction are yet to be developed. In the case of nuclear fission, the disposal of nuclear waste is a greater environmental problem. But in the case of the nuclear fusion, the disposal of nuclear waste is not involved. Raw material is not easily available and is costly in case of the nuclear fission, because you can understand the availability of the uranium and the other heavy nucleus. That means that all radioactive material is very less. And in case of the nuclear fusion, raw material is comparatively cheap and easily available, right? So another comparison that is with us, that is on basis of the different criteria. That is, first of all, let's start with the definition. In case of the nuclear fission, fission is the splitting of a large atom into the two or more smaller ones, while in the case of nuclear fusion, fusion is the fusing two or more lighter atoms in a larger one. Now, a natural occurrence of the process. Fission reaction does not normally occur in nature, right? Excuse me. But the nuclear fusion occurs in stars such as sun. You can understand the lots of energy that can be released with the help of the fusion. Byproducts of the reaction. In case of the nuclear fusion, fission produces many highly radioactive particles. But in the case of the nuclear fusion, few radioactive particles are produced by the fusion reaction. But if a fission trigger is used, radioactive particles will result from it. Conditions: critical mass of the substance and the high speed neutrons are required. But in case of the nuclear fission, high density, high temperature environment is required. Energy requirement: takes little energy to split two atoms in a fission reaction. But in the case of the nuclear fission, extremely high energy is required to bring more protons close enough that the nuclear forces to overcome them electrostatic repulsion. Energy released. The energy released by fission in the million times greater than the released in the chemical reactions, but lower than the energy released by the nuclear fission. In case of the nuclear fusion, the energy released by fusion is 3 or 4 times greater than the energy released by the fission. So you can understand that a large amount of energy is released with the process of this nuclear fusion. Like nuclear weapon, on the class of the nuclear weapon, fission bomb is also known as the atomic bomb or atom bomb. While on the say basis of this fusion process, one class of nuclear weapon is the hydrogen bomb, which uses a fission reaction to trigger a fusion reaction. Right? Okay, so let's discuss about the nuclear fuels. Very popular nuclear fuel with us, that is uranium. Let's understand its say uranium and its properties. Its atomic number is 92. Melting point is 1135 degrees Celsius. Boiling point is 4131 degrees Celsius. Naturally occurring uranium consists of the 99% of uranium-238 and 1% of uranium-235. Uranium-235 is only naturally occurring fissionable fuel. That means a fuel that can sustain the chain reaction. Nuclear fuels, say in continuation to that, see enriched aluminum. See, this process is used to increase the percentage of U-235. This will help us to maintain the chain reaction. Normally, it contains higher percentage, 3 or 4% of uranium-235. Plutonium, due to the absorption of neutron without the fusion in U-235 and thorium-232, the plutonium P-234 is formed. Atomic number 94, melting point 641 degrees Celsius and boiling point 3232 degree Celsius. Nuclear fuels, thorium, atomic number 90, melting point 1750 degrees Celsius, boiling point 4790 degrees Celsius, a weakly radioactive silvery material. Before it uses thorium-232, first up all converted into the U-233. So directly we cannot use the thorium as a nuclear fuel. Say nuclear power reactors. So components common to the most types of the reactors. First of all is the fuel. Usually the pellets of uranium oxide is arranged in a tubes to form the fuel rods. You can see this. This. That is the fuel rods. Okay, the rods are arranged into the fuel assemblies in the reactor core. This is the material which slows down the another, that is the control rod. This is the material which slows down the neutrons released from the fission so that they cause more fission. It is usually water, but they may be the heavy water or graphite, right? They are known as the moderator. In the nuclear power plant, the moderator is a device that has the rod-shaped placed near the nuclear fuel rod. The main function of the moderator in the nuclear power plant to reduce the speed of the neutrons and the increase the fission process. Moderator rod is made up of the graphite or heavy water or beryllium material. Next is the control rods. In the nuclear power plant, the control rods are placed between the nuclear fuel rod, moderator, and then control rod. These control rods are operated either automatically or manually to start or stop the chain reaction. In continuation to the control rods, the main function of the control rod is to control the chain reaction. It absorbs the freely moving neutrons and stop the chain reaction. If it is not inserted into the chain reaction, is in process, means the chain reaction is continued. The steady rate or to stop the chain reaction is maintained through the control rods. The control rods are made up of the cadmium boron, right? That is alloyed with the steel or aluminum. reflector. Before shielding, the reflector is placed. The reflector is used to surround the reactor core. The reflector will also help to bounce the escaping neutrons back to the reactor core, and it conserve the nuclear fuel. Shielding. Shielding is also important part of the nuclear power plant. Shielding, in other word, is the protecting. When the chain reaction starts, heat energy start to produce. During this period, lots of radiation or rays are produced. These are very harmful. To avoid this, shielding is provided in the reactor. Next is the reactor vessel. This vessel encloses the reactor core, reflector, shielding. It is used to protect the complete nuclear reactor, and few holes are provided in the top portion of reactor vessel to insert control rods, and at lower side of this vessel, fuel and moderator assembly is placed. The figure is shown aside, that is quite understandable. You can locate the different parts over there, that is control rod, moderator, fuel element, concrete shielding, your reactor core, right? Heat exchanger. So heat exchanger receives the heat from the reactor. This heat is circulated through the pipe. Before it is re-entered to the reactor, it is filtered. By using this heat, or heat exchanger boils the cold water that produces steam at the high temperature and pressure. Further, this steam passes to the steam turbine for the generation of electric power. Coolant, a liquid or gas circulating through the core so as to transfer the heat from it. In these light water reactors, the moderator function also as coolant. So different types of nuclear power plant are there. So let's discuss the types of the nuclear power plant. In the PWR, that is the pressurized water reactor. PWR. So in the case of the pressurized water reactor, you can see the figure aside. Uh, a pressurized water is used as the moderator, right? And the uranium, enriched uranium as fuel. When the chain reaction starts, the reactor core produces heat energy at the high temperature. This produced heat energy passes through the heat exchanger. We have to pass the hot water to the heat exchanger. This metal is also radioactive, and that's why the heat exchanger is also required shielding. The pressurized pressure equalizer uses to maintain the pressure of the hot water. In the heat exchanger, other side of tubes of the water are inserted. This will help us to boil the water and produce its steam at high pressure. This steam passes to the steam turbine for the generation of electrical energy with the help of the alternator. After that, the exhausted steam passes to the condenser. Thus, this process is continued, right? So we are playing a video over there to understand how this PWR work. So one more video or one more animation over there for the understanding of this PWR nuclear power plant.
The process of creating electricity using nuclear power begins with the splitting of uranium atoms in the reactor. This process, called fission, produces
So I am sharing it. Wait for a while.
The process of creating electricity using nuclear power begins with the splitting of uranium atoms in the reactor. This process, called fission, produces heat. In a pressurized water reactor, the heat from the water surrounding the nuclear fuel is kept under pressure to prevent it from boiling. The hot water is piped from the reactor vessel to a steam generator, where it transfers its heat to boil water and makes steam in a second system. After transferring its energy, the water is pumped back to the reactor vessel to be reused. The non-radioactive steam from the steam generator spins turbines that drive the generator to produce electricity. After the steam is used in the turbines, it is drawn into a condenser where it is cooled and condensed back into water and pumped back to the steam generator to be heated and reused. The process of creating electricity
I think with the help of this animation, we have understood the how the pressurized water PWR pressurized water reactor is working over here. So in today's lecture, we have understood that what is the basic requirement of this a nuclear power plant nowadays. Then, okay. What is the requirement of the say nuclear power plant nowadays? Then what are the criteria for this a site selection of nuclear power plant? The atomic review of the atomic physics. That means uh, we understand about the atoms, the nuclear fission process, multiplication factor, the comparison of this a nuclear fission and fusion, the nuclear fuels, different nuclear type nuclear fuels which are required, and its properties. What are the basic components of the nuclear power reactor and what are the functions of that? And one type of the nuclear reactor that we have understood, that is the PWR, that is pressurized water reactor, with the help of the animation. So right now we are stopping here, and we will continue our discussion on these nuclear power reactors, uh, different type of nuclear reactors. That is the BWR, boiling water reactor, CANDU reactor, then gas cooled reactor, fast breeder reactor, etc. And the what are the advantages and disadvantages of nuclear power plant in the next session. So we are stopping over here.